In a major rebuke to Donald Trump, the United Nations has voted overwhelmingly to condemn his unilateral decision to recognise Jerusalem as Israel's capital. Only 9 member states, including the US, voted against the resolution, while 128 others believe the holy city status can only be resolved through talks. Well, prior to the vote, the US had threatened to take the names of those supporting the resolution.
When we make a decision about where to locate our embassy, we don't expect those we've helped to target us. On Thursday, there'll be a vote criticising our choice. The US will be taking names.
We express our regret over the fact that the United States of America exercised a veto.
The recent decision of our UN member state to recognize Jerusalem or Al-Quds as the capital of Israel violates the international law.
The result of the vote: in favor, 128.
Well, the UN Security Council had made an earlier attempt to adopt a similar text, but it was vetoed by the United States. Caleb Maupin reports on Washington's failed efforts to influence this latest vote.
In the lead up to the voting, we heard in the Assembly Hall Nikki Haley. She remarked that the USA has the right to put its embassy wherever it chooses, and she went on to say that the USA will not forget the upcoming vote.
The United States will remember this day in which it was singled out for attack in the General Assembly for the very act of exercising our right as a sovereign nation. We will remember it when we are called upon to once again make the world's largest contribution to the United Nations. America will put our embassy in Jerusalem. No vote in the United Nations will make any difference on that.
Now, a number of countries that don't normally see eye to eye on international issues came together. Saudi Arabia and Iran, regional rivals, voted together to condemn the United States and Israel. Furthermore, we saw North Korea and South Korea, 2 other countries that don't tend to get along, voting together.
The use of the veto obstructed the Security Council and made it unable to perform its duties.
Undo decades of work of the international community.
It is considered a blatant violation of the rights of Palestinian people.
Must be resolved through negotiation between the 2 parties.
A UN member state threatened all the other members. This is bullying, and this chamber will not vote to do that.
Countries that often align with the United States, NATO members, members of the European Union, they also voted in favor of this resolution. Now, this comes despite the fact that a lot of pressure was placed on countries in the lead up to the vote. Donald Trump talked about the possibility of removing foreign aid from countries that voted in favor of the resolution, and a letter was sent to 180 countries saying that Donald Trump would take it personally the way countries voted. Whatever maneuvers took place and efforts by the United States to impact the outcome seem not to have really worked. The international community has strongly voiced its opposition to recent moves by the United States regarding Jerusalem.
Well, Donald Trump's decision about Jerusalem's status drew criticism from Arab and European states as Palestinians also claim the city as their capital. The announcement sparked protests across the Middle East, with the city of Bethlehem becoming the epicenter of the violence. Well, we heard from several analysts on the issue who think the UN made the right decision to withstand Washington's pressure.
I think it's unfortunate that the United States finds itself under this kind of leadership, which is undermining the standing of this country internationally. If countries acquiesce to the US and if they accept being punching bag for the American administration and voting in accordance with directives from Nikki Haley, then what's the point of having the United Nations?
I think we are now entering a new era in which a major power resorts to blackmail and bribery in order to secure votes in the General Assembly. But this is the first occasion on which a state, particularly a major power, permanent member of the Security Council, has resorted to such measures. I do think that it would be deplorable if the United States were to carry through threats of this kind, because that will indicate to states in future situations that if they vote against the United States, they do so at their peril.